The most anticipated earnings releases for the week of September 11, 2023, presented by Earnings Whispers. It is a light week for earnings, with about 50 companies set to report results, but only around 30 that have analyst coverage, and thus, earnings estimates. Investors are mostly interested in just two names this week, and they both have to do with AI. Oracle is the first and starts off the week after the close on Monday. Over the past 20 years, investors have only liked the stock as much as they do right now one other time, and that was just days before it reported earnings last quarter. For now, the momentum is in its favor as it heads to new highs ahead of earnings. FuelCell Energy is the exact opposite, with investor sentiment back down to where it was at the start of the year and the stock back down to where it was during the pandemic. Is this the bottom? Well, perhaps, but remember that on a split-adjusted basis, this was once a $3,000 stock and sentiment is still above the 2003 and 2006 levels. On Tuesday, investors are most interested in Edgio and Evolution Petroleum, but there aren't exactly market-moving stocks scheduled to report earnings. Instead, the main focus will likely be Apple. They aren't going to give us any numbers, but the world's largest company is going to announce new products, and that has typically been a buy the rumor, sell the news event, and that takes the cues with it. This time around it is a little different because China has followed Russia's lead and declared Apple to be unsafe for their government officials. No commentary here, but listen to that last line again. The news took the stock back down near its quarterly low ahead of the event. On Wednesday, we'll get results from Semtech after the company delayed its results that were originally scheduled to be reported last week. The company announced a new CEO just prior to its last earnings release, and now, after delaying results, the company has announced a new CFO. We know new charges are coming that won't be reflected in the company's non-GAAP earnings, but it seems a lot is getting cleaned up one way or another. Before we get results from Semtech, we will hear from Cracker Barrel, and we've got to say, it is quite interesting to see the apparent disconnect between investors' expectations and analyst checks. The focus for the week will be Adobe, which is at a 52-week high, and investors are bullish going into earnings. You likely know Adobe's story, so we are going to touch on what's second on the list for Thursday. Copart, because its stock has also been on a rally in 2023, but not because of significantly improving fundamentals, but because of a large bet that things were going to get worse and that didn't happen. Short interest spiked in November to its highest level since before the pandemic, and even as the company disappointed shortly after, the stock rallied on the news. All of the short sellers have losses on their positions. Most have covered along the way, but a significant portion is still holding those losses. Friday, nothing. Since it is a light week for earnings, we aren't able to fill up our table of earnings moves. So with that, we are providing our subscriber version of our volatility calendar, which shows the expected moves on the first trading day after earnings, which makes Friday a little busier. But that's also Rosh Hashanah, and you know the saying, right? One of the biggest circles is for Mission Produce, which reports after the close on Monday, so the price reaction will be on Tuesday. Despite some positive checks, this stock just hit a new all-time low, and regardless of what you think about the stock or the results, it doesn't typically pay to pick bottoms. But with implied volatility so high, traders are taking a walk on the wild side by picking these avocados. Get it? Guacamole? Avocados?